Bulavanaka. Hello everyone, I'm Greg Clark. Welcome to what will be our final Drua talk for 2024. Yes, sadly the season is over for the Swire shipping Fijian Drua after Saturday's loss in Auckland. The quarterfinals didn't produce an upset and the top 4 seeds are through to this week's semis. So we'll wrap up the Drua's third year and chat to outgoing head coach MICK, who moves straight into his role coaching the Flying Fijians. We hear from Drua CEO Mark Evans to get his take on the season. There's the try of the week, our try of the year, and we'll confirm all the Drua award winners. Well, the Drua were hoping to create even more history by reaching the semi-finals for the first time, but it wasn't to be in the quarterfinals against a fired-up Blues at Eden Park.
Round 1 clash was played in Whangarei, so this their first ever outing on Eden Park. They know if they drop their guard, drop their standards, it could make for a difficult night. Quarterfinal 3 of Super Rugby Pacific 2024 kicks off at Eden Park, and it kicks off with a mistake by Stephen Pedalfeta. This time they don't challenge. BYRNE takes it down. They drive towards the line. It's gone to ground. Brought down by the Blues is the call. Now the referee can see Dalton Papali'i's had a lunge at the line here.
I've totally lost the ball there.
He may have scored. Might be trying to bluff, but they are going back to halfway. They're confident. Here's Papali'i through the middle.
And then everyone's gone down on top of him.
He comes from a legal position and grounds the ball. You need to overturn your on-field decision and award a try.
Okay, it's a try, Melly.
Yeah, and you don't blame him either for missing that, because we all did.
And the Blues again look to get into that attacking rhythm that we've seen so often this season. Plummer, kick out to the wing. Clark! Oh, couldn't quite take it. Ball bubbles up. It's grabbed by Rico Ioane. Referee is saying play on. Christie! Finley Christie!
We will check it, guys. We'll check it.
We will have to check this.
Sweep that up in the background.
Thompson comes forward and takes it nicely. Little snipe. And a pass from Christie to Papali'i. He makes a strong run down towards the 5. Sotutu trying to spin away from the tackle of Dongi. Got him around the ankles. Now charging through the middle came Salawa. Penalty taken quickly. Sotutu! Just short of the line. Christie sees Thompson away to his left. He's short too. They have another dig. Again, they're short. Papali'i is there.
From the back! From the back!
Now Christie sends it away to Plummer. Floats a wide pass. Clark into the corner.
They had to come.
It'll be a ball turnover.
William Moore held up, stop coming out of there. That's
No time for the scrum. Half-time at Eden Park. Dominant first 40 from the Blues, and they lead at the break in quarter-final number 3 by 22-0. Second half about to start. Sire Armstrong Ravula sends it down into the 22, and Hoskins Sotutu wheels away from the oncoming Ravu Tamunda. Armstrong Ravula try to get some width on it. Ravu Tamunda, and now he breaks. The danger man for the first time in the game. He's electrifying, and he scores. What a great start to the second half for the Fijian Drua.
They know their shapes.
Thompson continues his good work. Kurt Eklund now has the ball in the back. They're heading forwards too here, the Blues. Trying to wrap them up, but they're swarming towards the goal line. They're over the goal line, and Nick Berry says that's a try. The corner flag. And Thompson again goes up. Now here's Eklund flying away. Lovely ball on the inside, and Clark is through. Worked to perfection by the Blues, and Caleb Clark scores.
Beautifully executed.
That's fine. He's won that
And
before he's gone to
Dalton
the ground.
Papali'i denies the Drua a chance at the last say. Funaki puts it dead. Blues into the semi-final. Season comes to an end for the...
Yes, another loss on the road by the Drua, and let's hope they take some learnings out of the 31-point loss and get past the quarters next year. However, they can still be proud of the fact that they reached the playoffs for the second year on the trot. In other games, the Chiefs were too strong for the Reds in Hamilton, winning by 22. The Hurricanes blew away the Rebels by 27 points in Wellington, a sad way for the Rebels to end their 14-year history. And the Brumbies are flying the Aussie flag after their 16-point win over the Highlanders in Canberra. Here's the semi-final draw. Friday, it's the Blues hosting the Brumbies at 7:05 p.m. Fiji time, and the Hurricanes play the Chiefs in Wellington from 4:35 p.m. Fiji time on Saturday. Two great matchups. This is Drua Talk with Greg Clark. Let's hear from the Drua head coach, Mick BYRNE. Bulla Mick, we'll start with the quarter-final loss to the Blues. Now, you said last week that the Drua had to be ready for the step up in intensity and they needed to bring their physicality from the outset. It wasn't there for all that first half, was it?
Well, not on the scoreboard. I thought that, we were there and thereabouts in the first exchanges with the team. We probably didn't get off the line as well as we would have liked in D, but we were going well, and then they scored a bit of an opportunistic try, and then they got a couple more on the board. But certainly after half time, the boys dug deep, and I thought we had all the momentum in the beginning in the second half, and I thought we started to get back on top there. And then the game just sort of petered out from what it felt like. The game just sort of petered out there at about 15 minutes into the second half. Just sort of the momentum sort of stalled on both sides,
You also indicated post-game that the struggles on the road are mental, and that comes from the lack of experience. Are you optimistic that year 4 will be better away from home?
Oh yeah, look, I think that people are saying, it's an excuse. Well, I've been around a long time, Clarkie. It's not an excuse. We're not the only team that sort of struggles on the road. We struggle to win games at home, but we win games at home. We got a golden point against the Waratahs. We won, a kick against Moana the year before. We are a team that is developing every week and learning how to play the game and be professional. Part of that is travel, and even teams that have been around, 15, 20 years and players that have been playing, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of professional rugby still don't have the away record that they have at home. We need to be better. We need to be a better team. And I think once we start winning convincingly at home, which some teams are doing, that's when our road trips will get the success. Back in the old Super Rugby days, you had 4 away games, and if you could come away with 13 points, you've had a great tour. Teams, people forget the old Super Rugby with South Africa. You had 2 away in South Africa and you had 2 away in Australia. If you could end up with sort of 12 to 14 points on those 4 games, you sort of got yourself a final appearance. And the only teams that did that were the teams at the top of the table. So we need to force ourselves to continue to grow. And I believe once we continue to grow, part of that growth will be our more seasoned players travelling well away.
Yeah, well said. And Mick, the Drua stint is over for you. If you said to me 3 years ago, way back at Lennox Head, in the middle of COVID, that you'd be in 2 quarterfinals by the end of the 3rd season, I don't know if I would have agreed based on history. So you must have gained a lot of satisfaction from your achievements.
Yeah, potentially if we'd had that conversation in Lennox, Clarkie, I wouldn't have said that. I know the point you're making, but I wouldn't have said it because I would have sort of, for me, it was a little bit too optimistic to be stating that we'll play quarterfinals after year 2. Certainly inwardly believed it, certainly looked at the talent in the team and knew that talent was there. There was no question that we had talent on the field. It was just how we adapted to professionalism. At the time, it's well documented, we lost over 140 kilos in our first 3 months as a squad. Players hadn't done anything off the island since 21, October 20 was the last time anybody played any rugby. They came to us in November 21, so we started from a pretty low base. And it's full credit to the players, how hard they've worked. But yeah, sitting there in Lennox in November in 2021, I wouldn't envisage what we've done, and that's full credit to the players for the way they've gone about it, and to the coaching staff. The coaching staff here have been enormous in how hard they've worked, and Brad Harris and Greg and Jacko in the first couple of years there, and also Al Rogers came in. Unfortunately, Al got crook and wasn't able to complete his year with us, but Greg and Glenn have been enormous. They've done an enormous amount of work, and our players are thriving under them, and I think it augurs well for the future with those two coaches here and continuing that relationship.
I'm sure they'll say you have done a great job as well. What are the highlights from the last 3 years as head coach?
Well, I think winning the last round against the Reds at home, that was a pretty special day. I think the first special moment for me was beating the Crusaders in our second year here. That was when the Crusaders had been playing really well. They'd just come off being title holders. They rested a few players, that's fine, but we still had to beat a pretty good Crusaders side. But the noise and the crowd and the next 24 hours in Fiji, what that game meant, that was a real highlight. And it really hit home to me how joyous our people are and how they really enjoy the game of rugby. And again, this year we had, getting into the quarterfinals, a good win. The last game against the Rebels, that's a good highlight as well.
What about your legacy? How do you want to be remembered as the Drua's inaugural head coach?
I think, for me, it's just about doing my job. My job was to come here and show the professionalism and try and set up a professional operation. And, I think that's, for me, it was just making sure that when I left here that there was enough understanding about what it needs to be a professional rugby player and professional environment for both players and staff. It's not for me to talk about legacies or anything like that, Clarkie. It's just for me to do my job, come in here and create a professional environment and try and educate the players and as we do along the way with the staff, to say this is what it means to be in a professional environment. It's not, we want to have fun and we want to enjoy ourselves in rugby, but if we don't put professionalism first, there'll be no fun and there'll be no enjoyment. So it was just about trying to, get those sort of things in place.
You've done a great job, mate. And Glenn Jackson takes over at the Drua, and you take over the Flying Fijians. It's a busy schedule between now and December, starting with the clash against the Barbars at Twickenham this month. Are you ready and excited about the step up to international rugby as a head coach?
I'm ready. I think we know the squad. We've got to get the squad ready. It's a big ask for players to come off a quarter final and then get heads back into a different environment. So the Barbars is going to be a challenge, but Georgia's 4 weeks away. So, that'll be a great opportunity for us to really get our squad together overseas and get our Flying Fijian squad together and have a good crack at Georgia and the All Blacks. I'm absolutely excited by it, Clarkie. I think the fact you mentioned that Jacko's here, that excites me as well. The fact I've got an existing relationship with Jacko, and while we're not going to see eye to eye on everything we try and do for both our environments over the next 4 years, the thing is we both have a great relationship and we'll talk through whatever needs to be done. And I know Jacko very, very well, and I know his ethics, and the player will always come first, and I'm the same. So I'm looking forward to having that relationship with Glenn over the next few years.
Mick, congratulations on getting the Drua up and running. We wish you well for the future. Thanks for being part of Drua Talk each week, and no doubt we'll see you at Drua games in the future. All the best.
All the best, and thank you, Clarkie, for everything you've done since we started. That first interview at Lennox, up until this one with you, it's been a pleasure working with you. But also, you've probably been our greatest supporter in the media, and for that, much appreciated. And good luck for the future for you too, mate.
Thanks, Mick. I've enjoyed every minute of it. Vinaka.
Vinaka Vakalevu.
You're watching the final episode of Drua Talk with Greg Clark for 2024. Later, I'll show you our Try of the Year. And there was some crackers to choose from, including our Try of the Week from the quarterfinal against the Blues. It was Home Basics Drua Player of the Match, Celestino Ravu-Taumunda's solo effort. Well, it was a big night in Denarau on Tuesday when the Drua staff, the men's and women's squads, sponsors and supporters attended the annual Drua Awards Gala dinner. Congratulations to all the winners.
Let's win this time. Let's go.
I've been able to sleep every Friday night because of the work that Glenn and Greg have done during the week, so thank you very much.
Player of the Year, Josefo Marci scored 7 of the Drua's tries this year. Celestino Ravu-Taumunda scored 6. And overall, there were 41 tries scored. And this is our Drua Try of the Week from the quarterfinal. It's also our Drua Talk Try of the Year. It was simply sensational.
So they've gone 11 phases, but they haven't gone far. Armstrong Ravula try to get some width on it. Ravu-Taumunda, and now he breaks. The danger man, for the first time in the game, he's electrifying, and he scores. What a great start to the second half for the Fijian Drua.
What a try by the Drua wing sensation Celestino Ravu-Taumunda. I'm looking forward to seeing him in action for the Flying Fijians over the coming months. Now on Drua Talk, it's time to catch up with the CEO, Mark Evans. Well, Mark, well, we were both at Eden Park to witness the Drua's second attempt in 2 years to win a quarterfinal. I know you were obviously disappointed that the boys couldn't create more history and reach the last 4, but how do you sum up season 3 overall? Do you give it a pass, Mark?
If we're talking just about the men's playing side, just about, I'd say. I'm mildly disappointed. I felt we probably should have won 1 or 2 more and win 7 or 8 in the regular season. And as far as the playoff game was concerned, I was disappointed about the way we started. We weren't aggressive enough in the ruck.
It's easy to see how the Drua men and women are progressing on the field, but what about off the field? Behind the scenes, are things going well? Heading in the right direction?
Yeah, I think we probably had a better year off the field than on, if I'm honest. You know, we've got a range of new partners from Punjas and Ocean to, you know, McDonald's and Tanoa and Total Energy. You know, they're quite significant players. We had our first ever sellout, at the Canes in Suva, and the first women's semi-final on the island. Those are a bit of landmarks. Broadcast numbers in Fiji are up 35% year on year, which is a huge increase from an already pretty decent base. And we're profitable, and we've got a positive cash flow. We're building up the cash reserves, and we don't need external funding from the government or anybody else. other than our regular, obviously, funders in NZR and DFAT and World Rugby. And as a result, our banking relationships improved significantly with ANZ. So, yeah, I think overall, off the field and with the absorption of the women's team was a big landmark too. Yeah, I think we've made some pretty big breakthroughs. The academy launches in October for the under-16s, and that'll be another big change to the organisation. We got a new training ground that we didn't have last year, and we sent 18 players to a successful World Cup campaign. So, yeah, I think off the field we've made some really big strides, and I think we'll continue to do so.
You've been the boss for 2 seasons now. What's given you the greatest satisfaction so far?
When I took over the role, I said something along the lines that what were we trying to do? We were trying to put the whole operation on a long-term, sustainable, successful path, become a real force in the competition and bring pride and enjoyment to the supporters. And I suppose I'd stick with those sort of aims. And the one that so far I think I still get the biggest, the most satisfaction from is that when we play well and bring pride and enjoyment to the supporters, that is the most satisfying thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, you've settled on Glenn Jackson as Mick Byrne's successor for next season. What made Jacko stand out above the rest?
Clearly he knows the program, and we're still a very young program. So continuity was quite a big thing. We've had a fair bit of turnover, some through natural stuff like Brad went off to the Rebels last year and Mick's going up to the Flying Fijians. I mean, that's quite a big coaching turnover in a small coaching group. So continuity was quite important. We don't want all the institutional memory walking out the door within a short period of time. But so there's that. But there's the other side to it, which is a very passionate and innovative coach, and we all know that. He's got a very good relationship with the players. And Fiji is still, at this level, not the easiest team to come into. There's a lot of other factors at work, and the fact that Glenn's been here since the beginning was felt to be a big strength.
Best of luck to Jacko and his coaching staff. Only 11 teams in Super Rugby Pacific next year, 7 home games again, the top 6 to play off in the finals. Where would you like to see the tournament head in future years?
I don't think the number of teams is nearly as important as the number of matches. People get hung up on how many teams are in it, and I do accept you can overextend, and Super Rugby in an earlier incarnation certainly did overextend its reach in terms of geography and number of teams. It was hard to follow, the time zones were complicated, etc., etc. However, I just don't think, and I've said this many times, I'll say it again, we're just not, in my opinion, we're just not in market for long enough. We don't play enough games. The whole competition is over too quickly, and it's very hard for people to build narrative, particularly in the Australian and to some degree the New Zealand market. Fiji, to be honest, it's still an element of novelty about it. People are still very enthusiastic. The broadcast numbers tell you that, about the level of interest, and it is the national sport, which it is in New Zealand as well, I accept, but it clearly isn't in Australia. So I think it needs to be in market for longer to build up more narratives. I think we need at least an 18-game regular season. And even that is probably, I think that's probably all you're ever going to get to. I don't think even that is probably quite as long as I'd like. If you really want to grow affinity and connection and interest, I just think you've got to be much less of an afterthought. My criticism of Super Rugby over a number of decades is it's been seen as an afterthought, or at best, an afterthought at worst, or a sort of a preparation for test match rugby at best, and that never ever works. The fact that it's never had its own full-time empowered executive and an independent board has been a massive weakness, and I feel it's like, well, we're going to sort out international rugby and then whatever's left over, well, that'll be Super Rugby, right? And I just don't, you shouldn't be surprised if that's the way you treat it for 25 years. It's probably not in the place you'd like it to be.
Well said. And Mark, thank you for your time and for the work you are doing to help make Fiji and Pacific rugby stronger and sustainable. All the best, and we'll see you again in 2025. Vanaka.
It's a pleasure. Take care.
Well, that's about it for Drua Talk for this season. Thanks to Sky Pacific, to Bond Uni and Sky New Zealand. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to doing it all again next year. As mentioned earlier, it's looking like it'll be an 11-team competition. All teams will have 7 home games again. There'll be a top 6 playoff system. Good luck to the Flying Fijians and Fijiana at upcoming test matches as well. I'll leave you with a look at some great action from the Drua in 2024. I'm Greg Clark. Bye for now. Modhe.
Sit!
Low money. That's coming off his wing. Celestin Uramo Tomanda. Clicking in a third gear, getting the ball away beautifully. Elia Thanakovada for the Fijian Drua.
Wowee! That's how they can punish you, Goog. And they can do it from anywhere. You called for a little bit more unstructured, well, they did it off a set piece.
They come again. Canaveri, they tried again to get up this time, Craig, but they do have it. And look at him make amends. Batami well taking flight. And he scores the try. Celeste Moana. Now they just 6 and change away from their first over the Fijian Drua. This man will have other ideas. Over the top under, setting sail, gets the ball away beautifully. Kuravoli, oh brilliant! Gets it off, and here he is on debut. Junior Ottawa.
Valentini and Moxie. The ball on the inside was an absolute gem, and what about that? Rapito, that was outstanding. Beautiful ball on the inside. That's exactly what... As the crowd starts to get behind the local team. There's Kevin Valentini. Advantage being played, so they don't have to be all that adventurous, yet they can be patient. Vode Vode. 5 out. Darren Alungi. They try and push it through their hands. Over the top it goes. Joel Assessi, and he has got the lunger in the corner. Did he get it down? Wonga the lunger. They're claiming the try. This young man, starting on the left wing, he missed last week through injury.
With the grounding, just want to sign off that touchline, please.
Just having a look upstairs with the TM. Salawa.
Onside, boys.
They rush up on him. But Toi Salia can't find a way through. Darren Alungi out the back. Valentini. Ravu Tamanda over the top it goes, and it is try time for Jolasesi and the Fijian Drua.
That's a great lead-up for the Fijian Drua. And I reckon you have to put it down to Isaiah Armstrong-Ravula. They're playing in at a half-back. It's not quite as quick as Frank when he gets there, but it's just allowing the Drua forwards to get into their shape nice and early. They're retaining their ball.